Okay, this video is to explain how to calculate the molar mass of a compound. Molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of a compound, or if you're just doing elements, the mass of an element. To calculate the molar mass of a compound, you want to follow the procedure. Basically, all you're doing is taking the subscript number, which is telling us the number of atoms of the element, and multiplying it times that element's atomic mass. So in a compound, you've got 2 or more different atoms or elements there. So you're going to be adding up this answer that you get with all the rest. So there's 2 or 3 ways to do this. The first one, let's say if we have calcium sulfate, first thing you've got to do is make sure you have the right number of atoms. So the Ca doesn't have a number behind it, so it's understood 1. The sulfur has 1 atom of sulfur in this compound. That 4 that's there is only for oxygen, okay? If the 4 was for sulfur, it would have to have a 4 between the S and the O right there, or the S and O would have to be in parentheses with the 4 on the outside, and so that's not what's there. So we have 1 atom of calcium, 1 atom of sulfur, and 4 atoms of oxygen. So then you have to use the periodic table to look up the mass of these. So for oxygen, it's 16 grams per mole. On the periodic table, sulfur is 32.07 grams per mole. And calcium is 40.08 grams per mole. So if we want to know the compound's mass, then I'm going to take the 1 atom of calcium plus its mass, times its mass, plus the mass of the sulfur atom, plus the mass of 4 atoms of oxygen. So you would write this out: 1 times 40.08 plus 1 times 32.07 plus 4 times 16, and you type that in the calculator, hit equals, and you should be getting this amount when you do that. Alright, so another problem is, what is the molar mass of calcium hydroxide? So in this one, we've got parentheses with a 2. That means that we have 1 calcium, just because of the Ca doesn't have a number written behind it, and that 2 behind the OH means that there are 2 of these OH groups. So that means I have 1 Ca atom and 2 oxygens, and I have 2 hydrogens. The easier way of doing that is to take the subscript that's out here and multiply it times the subscript behind oxygen. So I'm going to blow this up just a little bit here. So oxygen has 1 written behind it, but we don't see it. And hydrogen has 1 behind it. So I've got the 2 subscript on the outside, so I'm going to go 2 times 1 gives me a total of 2 atoms of oxygen. And then 2 times 1 gives me 2 atoms of hydrogen. So I've got those written over here on the left side. So there are the 2 atoms of oxygen, here are the 2 atoms of hydrogen. So anytime you have a substance that's inside parentheses and it has a subscript number outside of the parentheses, you have to multiply everything inside the parentheses times the subscript on the outside. Alright, so in this problem, calcium has a mass. There's only 1 atom of calcium. That's where this 1's coming from. And then 40.08 grams per mole gives us 40.08 for the mass of that element. Oxygen is 2. There's 2 of those, and they're both have a mass of 16, so when I multiply 2 times 16, we get 32.00 grams per mole. Hydrogen's mass is 1.01 from the periodic table, times 2 gives me 2.02 grams per mole. Now when you add all of those up, you get a mass of 74.10. I could have written that up like the other problem before. So I could have written it out like this. But if you're more comfortable stacking it like this way, go for it. If you prefer this way, go for it. But on your problems, you're going to have to show me at least one of these methods. Okay? Thanks.